Congratulations on accepting an offer for your property. Now, although much of that hard work is behind you, there are several important steps between now and closing. And this guide is going to walk you through what to expect after going under contract on your home.
So after you have signed contract, you and your buyer have officially agreed on the terms of the contract, and your contract includes contingencies that must be met before closing, such as inspections, appraisals, loan approvals. And this is the time to prepare for those upcoming steps. We'll help you navigate each one of these steps in these contingency periods.
So first up is the earnest money deposit. The buyer is going to deposit earnest money into an escrow account within a few days of the contract being signed. This is a good faith deposit, which is about 1 to 3% of the purchase price to show their commitment to the deal. Now, this will give you some security that the buyer is serious. If they back out, though, for reasons not covered by contingencies, you may be entitled to keep that deposit.
Yeah, and now you have a home inspection. The buyer will likely schedule a home inspection within 7 to 10 days after going under contract. A licensed inspector will assess the condition of your home and identify any potential issues, such as problems with the roof or plumbing, electrical system, and so on. Depending on the results of your inspection, the buyer may request some repairs or some credits. You can negotiate these requests and agree to some or offer a price reduction on the other, and we can assist you, and we will assist you in that process.
Now, the appraisal, if the buyer is using a mortgage, their lender will order an appraisal to determine that fair market value of your home. That appraisal protects the lender from lending more than the home is worth. Now, if it comes in lower than the agreed upon price, the buyer may ask you to lower the price to cover that difference. It's another potential point of negotiation that will help you through. The appraisal typically takes place within about 2 to 3 weeks after that contract is signed.
Yeah, and during this time, we're actually going to be getting your information over to a title company that's going to be They'll conduct a search to ensure that there are no legal claims, liens, disputes on the property that would prevent you from transferring a clear title and clear ownership to the buyer. If there are any issues that do arise, such as unpaid taxes or undisclosed liens, you'll need to resolve these before the closing. If the title is clear, the process is typically pretty quick and smooth, and it usually is done inside this process where we will find any issues and resolve them.
So the contingency period. Many contracts include contingencies such as financing and the appraisal. They're going to allow the buyer to back out of the deal or renegotiate if those conditions aren't met. First, the financing contingency provides the buyer a set amount of time, about 3 to 5 weeks, to secure their financing. If they can't, they can back out without penalty. The inspection contingency, if it reveals major issues, the buyer can request repairs or withdraw from the sale. And finally, the appraisal contingency. If it comes in lower than the sale price, the buyer can attempt to negotiate or simply walk away.
Yeah, and negotiating repairs is part of the inspection, and the buyer may request that you make some repairs, or they'll have you credit them towards the repairs if they decide that's an easier process. And you can agree to some and negotiate some or do none of it, and we can determine what's the best thing for you as you decide to exit this property. And repairing these negotiations typically happen within a week or two of the inspection, and we'll help you with understanding which of these contingencies you should deal with and how to navigate that.
So the closing disclosure, the buyer will receive one from their lender that'll outline the terms of the loan. As the seller, you'll receive a seller's statement, which breaks down your financials, including how much you are going to net from the sale after paying off your mortgage, any real estate agent commissions, and any other closing costs. Both sides receive their disclosures about 3 days prior to closing.
Yeah, and after that, we have a final walkthrough with the buyers. The buyer will conduct this walkthrough typically within 24 to 48 hours before closing to ensure that the home is in the condition that it was agreed upon. This includes checking any negotiated repairs that have been completed, that the home is clean and undamaged from the last time that they were there, and that there's really nothing else that has come up.
Right. Now, so for closing day, that's the big day that we're waiting for, right? You and the buyer will then, of course, sign all the necessary paperwork to officially transfer ownership of the property. You're going to sign the deed, the settlement statement, and any other documents. After closing, you'll receive the proceeds from the sale, typically through a wire transfer. Be sure to confirm with your title company how you want to do that. Of course, that's where we come in and how we help make this transition very easy. Once they're signed, the funds are transferred, you hand over the keys, and it's officially closed.
On a side note, moving out, unless otherwise agreed upon, you will need to move out by the closing date. It's a common courtesy to leave your home clean and in good condition for the new owners. Some contracts include what's called a rent-back agreement, allowing you to stay for a short time after the closing if you need it. So Also, you can make sure to cancel all your utilities, transfer your electrical, your water, your internet, those kind of things, all at the date of closing.
Right. Selling a home involves a lot of steps, but with a clear understanding of the process, you can avoid surprises and ensure that smooth transaction. And the Living in Midwest Life team will stay in close communication with you, as well as our transaction coordinator, who helps us make sure that we meet all those necessary deadlines. And before you know it, you're going to be closing this chapter and starting a new one.
Yeah, feel free to reach us anytime during this process. We're here to help you. We look forward to making this a smooth transition for you as you move on to the next phase of your life.